Okay, so Andy, it's the difference between that and that. Is one better? There's that.
Sorry, do it again.
So this is clear, and this is a filter.
The filter looks better.
I agree. Okay.
And do you need to check the audio in the other room yet?
Not quite yet, but you're done there. You can be done.
All right.
Thank you.
CC, any sign, Mr. Pratt? The other ones.
I have not seen it, no. Do you need anything from me other than that, though?
So we should put something, this is just,
Yeah, no.
okay, good, yeah.
Walking out, so now I'm in the back.
Now we need it.
Okay, you have your school, now it's going to be my question. All right. The real issue with asking the flag pressure to come out this way, I don't want line right. Do you want to see the full stage?
Yeah.
This is the brightest I can go right now.
Okay, that's fine, that's good.
Cool.
But can you spot the
Good, thank you.
piano and those guys over there for me right now? So this is the piano.
Let it be now.
I mean, here's the piano, where's it, the band?
And then here's the band.
Okay.
Okay. And then here's for the soloist down center.
Okay.
And that's all we have. Okay, perfect. Cool.
And center for Audrey. And Audrey. A little bit more downlight for him maybe or something. Some of the band downlight or back. Some of that.
Have the folks who want that show up yet?
I have not seen them.
decide what's good. You decide alone. But no one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes. Holding to their own. Thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right, giants can be good. You decide what's right, you decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side, someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe you forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will turn out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
Music sticks. Okay. Thank you. Anything else you need?
Good enough for me.
And Audrey, and I'm hoping that you'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll feel it. There's a little special area down here just for you.
Okay. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you, sir. We have a
Yeah, but they had a case.
Central here down in yellow. Everybody who's going to be at one of this. So this is Cecilia, our stage manager. Anything you need? Anything you do?
Yeah, pretty.
That's pretty loose.
I've had a run. I mean, you know, she need to go back.
Audrey from the program. Let's actually just get all this on the program. So, and that way you'll kind of know where it's coming. And,
But where should I stay? I mean, I should be walking across the way. I know I got two spots. I know that.
right, you're playing with for
Flagman and
So I think the easiest thing might be over here, and I'll kind of give you an Audrey a cue to come on up, and I'll say, Audrey Wilson is Matt Denise, and as soon as you hear those words, you're the third thing. Gary's on. I'm going to be up there telling them stories for about 5 minutes. And they say, oh, that's not true, is it? Then we're going to have a little reading of a play, 10 minutes. And after that, it's when you guys go out. Okay, I got it.
Wait, there's a program right
and
here.
you're the stage manager, right?
I made the programs yesterday too. Oh God. Yeah, you are correct.
We're in the good hands.
It's, yeah, Gary, John, yes, and Audrey.
So, and it's pretty loose. It'll be pretty loose.
Yeah.
When the program is coming, there'll be a session where there'll be a video of all this video that shows ancient philosophy and that kind of stuff. Right after that, Ron is coming. As soon as Ron hits the stage, I would think you all might want to filter up through the stairs and be backstage. It's, as I say, it's a little loose.
A little loose, yeah. But not too loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna open.
Hi, Gary.
I could just have one more.
I'm sorry, Carolyn. I know. You just sleep well. So I'm going to be in front of you.
Well, Kim said that we can.
Yeah, it's people. So are you going to sit right here? Is that for us?
I think all this these are.
Hi, Clyde. You.
My daughter, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. So glad. It's been a good Yeah, Matt and the two boys and the daughter stay here. And then Kim's father, Ray, did you know? Okay. I've been with you, yes, I know, yeah. I can teach you. And they've been out here since they came last week, and they've been with me all this week. And I think Christina came in yesterday. Her mom will go over Matt, this is one. Oh, that's fine. I'm going to give you one time to wash my feet. I'll leave you picture. We came over right by Scott. Oh, you came in over here one time. Really tired. I did. I was even early ready to shower for a walk, and I went around the garage. Because for that split second, there were no cars there, and I forgot that Ray was going to take the van and the super ride. But now we start out. Your Matt had forgot what happened in the water.
We just had 2 bugs. We had rented bugs.
Yeah, I would have thought of that. I would never have thought that. I mean, it was coming from the mind side, I had cracks in it. Just never, ever would have thought of the other thing. Mark is 20. Is it from Webster's band? Did you see it now or now? Oh, how about that? Is that better? Now?
I wonder if this guy's get together.
I heard that you, what was that? Yeah, she was, yeah. She's on her kid's house, yeah. Hey, I had to tell you, he is good with us. She was, oh, he had they would show her out. He had board cross. Yeah, she would come out, go down there, substitution. They would so they would go the other day, right out there, and would jump at the other. And I had no idea. One day I was out, like, the pool got out, they were like, get down. Hey, come here. Let's go. Yeah, that's what I said. That brown there. She was looking at I guess. And then so she ought to be with them. Why are you talking? Because she paid over. Oh my God. You are hired.
Hello there. Where are we?
Trudy is an old friend of Felix. So give us a hi. She's been at my house. She stayed with us. I guess those I think he's right. I don't know where. Well, they told me. Yeah. It was
No.
sorry, yeah. She said, and I said, no, I don't want anybody getting hurt. We just can't be there. I said, and then I got and he didn't leave. And with that, I then they were. I do. I think if they, I'm not pretty He's really
Good morning. It's good to see so many familiar and loving faces in one place together. Couple of things. It may get, there are still people coming in, it may get crowded. If there's room in the center of your row, it may be helpful to sort of move to the center so that there's more room on the aisles. And this room, it's unusual that you would get cell phone service, but just in case, if you would turn off your cell phone. And it is a theater event, so we can't start without that. We just don't want to interrupt this precious time together. My name is Gary Wayne Barker, and I was privileged to work with Mark Wilson in 3 distinct ways. I'm Associate Dean for Undergraduate Affairs in the College of Arts and Sciences, and so on behalf of the Dean's Office, and particularly our Dean, Chris Duncan, I bring condolences to Mark's family and all who loved him and mourn his loss. I also served as a theater faculty member with Mark for a long time. And I got to see firsthand Mark's heart as an educator and how he loved students and would go above and beyond to make sure that students succeeded. And then we were artistic collaborators. Mark worked on, I think, nearly every show that I directed here at SLU. And as a designer, and the idea that I'll be directing here in the fall, without him on the team, I can't get my head around that. And I know that whatever I produce will be diminished because he won't be part of it. But today's supposed to be a celebration of Mark Wilson's life, a life well lived. Kim, Mark's wife, has asked that I start our time together with prayer. Please join me. Dear God, we come together today recognizing that we are a broken-hearted and a grateful people. We're broken-hearted at the loss of our loved one, our friend, our colleague, our collaborator, Mark Wilson. And we know that you're a God of comfort. And we just call upon your comfort now. Make us aware of the variety of ways that you will seek to comfort us in the next days, weeks, months, years as we go on without Mark. And may we be sensitive to your spirit around us today and every day as we deal with this loss. And Lord, we're grateful to have experienced the unique spirit that was Mark Wilson. To have experienced his generosity of time and talent. Almost everyone in this room probably could testify to how he worked with them on a project above and beyond what could have been expected. His spirit of collaboration, Lord, we're so grateful for that. No one enjoyed being in a group of people bouncing ideas around to create something better than an individual could create. God, we're grateful to have experienced his creativity, his talent, his artistry, his design, and because of what we got to see through him, we understand you as a creator better. And God, we're most grateful for Mark's example of an attitude of yes. How Mark would say yes to any new idea, any new project, any new person. Help each of us, Lord, as we strive to incorporate what was best about Mark Wilson into our own personalities and lives. We pray that you will be honored, that Mark will be honored by all that we say and do in this room today. Amen.
Hi, I'm John Wiley. I'm comic relief. Just wait. I want to start by just saying a couple of thank yous. I want to say thank you to Noah Weisbrod, who's up there, and all. And to Cecilia De Araskine. Did I do it, Cecilia? All right, you said? Okay. That's something. in here working 24 hours a day, getting this thing done. You know, lots of other folks have helped as well, but without those two, we couldn't make it happen. Not a wake, not a funeral today, right? This is a celebration of Mark's life. Maybe a little irreverence from time to time, just a heads up. We have the tissues here. We're all set for tissues. If you need one, come on up. And the lights are on because we need your help, right? I need your help. There's something on. I hope that's not awkward for everyone. That's all Kim and Kim, by the way. That's, you got a light for that, Caitlin? Is it on? You got it. Late to his own funeral. Is that a shock to anyone, right? Have I hurt your feelings for that? No. So far, so good. I got through the first sentence of this last night at home, so we'll see how we do. It starts with the parents, right? Mark's and Matt's parents. If you met them, you would never forget that. They were just the most generous people. You know, from good pictures, right? I was like, all kinds of good stuff, right? They were going out to scout jamborees and working with those kids and lugging along their stuff. And the one time I was at their house, and Tom Mr. Wilson pulled out just a pile of stuff, just pulled out a piece of steel to work on, right? They would take the forge out, they would go to these jamborees, they would do these classes for the kids, and of course, as always, teach them more than just about life, right? Come on in and sit down. Come on in, find a seat, somebody will help you. So they were teaching them life lessons all along the way as well. They would come, I asked them to finish on this one, they would come to my class, and can I walk away from the mic, everybody okay? Yeah. They would come every year and they would bring the forge down and teach our students blacksmithing. So there's Mark looking off thinking about the future, right? Something else, right? But they were wonderful, and every year they would put that forge in the truck and put that anvil in the truck and drive down here and teach the class and just go back. One of my favorite parts of that was one day Tom Wilson talking how to temper steel. He took an old spring from a car and he said, here you go. So we shoved it into the fire, we heated it up to red hot, white hot, and really hot. And then there were two buckets, and he showed me, he took that one piece of steel and he shoved it into the water bucket and it quenched it really quickly. And he said, we've just ruined that piece of steel because it'll now never take an edge, it'll never sharpen, it'll never stay sharp. He took the other piece of steel that he had heated up and slowly lowered it into a bucket of oil. And he said, and he just took his time really slowly. He just called out all the colors as you saw them changing. And he said, you see what happened there? That piece of steel now, you can sharpen it, it'll keep an edge as you work, as you chisel, or whatever you do with it. And it is that kind of process and thought process and life process that I think Matt and Juanita brought to, Tom and Juanita brought to Matt and to Mark. So I always valued that. Matt told me a great story the other night about Mark had a rock tumbler that he bought, right? And so, and as Matt told the story, right, it was like they lived in a very small house, and all night long it was like the rock tumbler just tumbling these rocks. And as Matt said, at the end of it, what'd you have? Like 2 weeks later, what'd you have? Just a shiny rock. But again, it was like, I don't think that time would have mattered, that, you had a shiny rock at the end of it, right? And I'm going to tell you now about how I feel like many of us are. Look at Dave McCarthy back there. He's how Mark, like shiny rocks, right? We're shiny rocks for all of us. College. I walk in, I'm a freshman in college, Mark's a junior. We go to, I go into this intro theater class, and we have to do 20 hours of shop work, and Mark is the guy. He's the one in charge of the shop. Our buddy Jack Carr, our teacher Jack Carr, there was a picture that already flashed by probably, but Jack was, kind of the core of it all. But Mark said, hey, what are you doing? Hey, come here. You ever used power tools before? I'm like, yeah, I use power tools. He goes, come here, we're going to build this door. See what we're going to do? And I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I built this door. And at the end of it, and all the way, he's like real encouraging, right? Like, and everybody has this story, right? With Mark, everybody has this story. And so, very encouraging, like, yeah, man, that looks great, man. That's great. That's great. We need somebody to do work study in the shop. Are you interested? And I was like, absolutely, I'd love to do that. So from that moment forward, I was basically following Mark Wilson through the rest of the steps of my life. He went to the Guthrie for an internship. I went to the Guthrie for an internship. He would work at the dinner theater work, and he would hire us to work over here. Anyway, lots of steps along the way. We went to grad school together. As we headed off to grad school, Mark decided he was going to wait a year, and then he got a call from Doug Taylor, who was the TD at UMKC, and he said, we're going to do this play called Postcard from Morocco. It's the music department is going to do it, and it's the conservatory music, and there's Kim Conway is going to design it. We're all terrified, right? Because Kim Conway designed some beautiful, beautiful stuff, but man, was it hard. And so he called Mark, and he said, hey, and he had met him at our interview, hey Mark, would you like to come down? We'll hire you to TD this opera. And Mark said, absolutely, sure, yes, I'll do that. And so Mark comes down, he's supposed to be there for a month, he starts TDing this opera, and that's how Kim and Mark met. Hard stuff. Glass bottles that Mark learned how to, he filled them with sand so they wouldn't shatter. He put them in a kiln, heated it up, stretched these bottles. Just thing after thing after thing on this show was so hard to do. None of us could build Kim's shows. Mark could. So that was a natural connection, right? Stuff happened. They got married. They moved to St. Louis. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The house on Geyer. If you're here, there's a chance you might have been in that house on Geyer. It needed a lot of work, and they gave a lot of blood and sweat. Not so many tears, maybe tears of joy, but they spent a lot of time on that house. Yeah, good. Mark, Kim Dog, right? At the time, Kim Dog, and Pud the cat lived in this house on Gaia. His name was Pud. They did some beautiful projects. One night, one of my favorite stories about Mark, I have two left. One of my favorite stories about Mark is he's working on the bedrooms upstairs. One has a lighting fixture, the other one does not, so there's no hole, there's no box, there's nothing. He's like, I need to get wire from here to there. Some of you know this story and you're already giggling, so that's good. I need to get wire from here to there. How am I going to do this? He's like, I couldn't stretch a wire, I couldn't figure it out. There was some kind of obstacle and it needed to. So he takes Pud the cat. I just spring around him. Shoves him up into the ceiling. Seals off that hole. I'm sorry, PETA folks, I'm so sorry. And he goes to the other room with a can of cat food. Here, kid. we got the job done, right? Under budget. Because it was always about Mark had $8 to solve a water cannon in a park, right? But here's who Mark is to me. 2002, Mark Pryor is signed by the Cubs, and he's going to be the savior. Everything from there is going to go swimmingly from 2002 on. It's all going to be great. We were Cub fans, so I was at lunch with my buddies. They're like, "You should go." I'm like, "No, I can't." "You should go." I can't. It's like 1 o'clock. Who am I? And I thought, you know what? I could go. And my first call was to Mark. "Hey, Mark Pryor's going to pitch his first game for the Cubs tonight. Would you like to go to Chicago and see the game?" And he said, "Absolutely." He's like, I'm like, "Where are you?" He's like, "At my parents' house doing a project with them, but it'll only take like another hour." I knew what that meant. And so he said, I'll meet you in Bloomington and we'll go up. And we did. We met in Bloomington. We went to the game. We laughed like idiots at every stupid thing that happened, right? And just had the best time. And I could always count on Mark as to so many people, but I could always count on Mark to say, "Let's go do this stupid thing together." And Mark was there, and he would do it with me. So that's who Mark is to me. Okay, so Nancy Bell has created a short thing for us that we would like to share with you all. I think if you'll see it, you'll recognize it. Everybody here? Okay, come on out. So, just going to do a little quick reading. It's pretty short, but I don't need it to resist. Okay, good. Joey, good.
Yes, for Mark. Blank stage, dim light. A young person just out of high school steps tentatively on stage. A stage in a theater perhaps very much like this one. He has a tiny suitcase.
Hello? Hello? It's freezing in here.
He takes a paper from the suitcase and looks around, trying to get a feel.
Is this it? Hello?
He takes out a cell phone and makes a call.
Mom? I don't think I'm in the right place. It's really dark in here. Mom?
Looks at phone. It's dead. A woman, 40s, crosses the stage.
Oh, hi.
Woman keeps walking, exits stage right.
Hey.
Woman pops back a sec. Yes?
I'm here.
You are. You're here.
I got here.
Well, good for you. Great to have you. Woman exits. A young person gets a phone charger from the suitcase, stands up and looks around. Now what? Where's the plug? Shit. Another young person enters and walks by.
Oh, hi. Are you... Wait.
What?
Well, I'm just... Hi. I'm here.
Okay.
Hey, do you know where I can,
Indicates phone cord.
On a wall? I don't know.
Young person 2 continues crossing to exit.
Wait a minute. I'm here. I think this is right. At least I think this is where I said I was going to go. But it's dark.
So?
Is this right?
I guess? I don't know what you're getting at.
Okay. Sorry.
Young person 2 hurries off. Suddenly, a very sorrowful sound is heard. Eerie and wrong and ominous. It goes on for a long time. Young person is terrified, cowers. The sound stops. He looks up. Suddenly, all the lights come up at once. A man, 50s, enters hurriedly. He carries an enormous ladder in one hand, a portable light and soundboard in the other, and has a tool belt filled with a ridiculous number of tools on it.
Oh man, did you hear that? That was wild.
He rushes off stage right for a second, The young person watches him. The man returns after a second with a couple of chairs and sets a board up on them, running cords which are strapped to his belt, setting up adapters.
Oh, man, that's not the one. I think I got that in the booth.
He turns and sees the young person for the first time.
Hey, man, you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. Hold this.
Man hands him the ladder and walks off the stage, up the aisle as he talks.
Man, did you hear that sound?
Oh, yeah. Was that real?
Well, I don't know. It was real loud and real messed up is what it was. Gotta get some better speakers in here. This one right here, I borrowed that one from the Black Rep. Oh God, you gotta see that show. That is, I'm telling you what, I don't know, it's powerful. But I borrowed that speaker from them and now, I don't know, it's making this sound and I gotta give it back and they're gonna be like, what happened to my speaker, Mark? So, I don't know, I can call in some favors. Maybe they can do something for me at Mokra. I was up hanging that show last night. This amazing woman, photographer from Guatemala. These giant canvases, beautiful. Oh God, my back is killing me.
He disappears out of the door of the theater, still talking. A young person struggles with the heavy ladder for a moment before the man reappears on the balcony, wrapping a bunch of cords, calling down to the stage.
So I gotta get some kids down there so they can get what it's really like in the real world. Get them off this campus. What is this? I've never seen this cord before in my life. I think maybe that summer camp that's in here left these. I gotta call her, the woman who runs that. Gotta set her up with a light board at that school. But wait a minute. These will work, I think. Hang on. Oh, this booth's kind of a mess in here. Oh, I'm gonna bring this too, and see if they can use this at the rep for that other thing, that Palestinian thing. I tell you what, you talk about stories, these Palestinian one-acts that they're doing over at, I'm doing projections for that. Man, I gotta get on that.
He disappears out the balcony doors for a moment.
Hello? Look, I'm just gonna put this ladder here, and then,
Man comes bursting through the doors to the theater again, and charging down the aisle, laden with cords and equipment. Young person is startled.
Okay, now, just put the ladder there center stage for now. Thanks, man. We're just gonna get you up on that. I fell off that once during tech, fell right into the first row. I thought I was a goner. Tom Martin didn't even call hold. That was a great show. We did it with puppets, and the actors carried Klieg lights on roller skates so they could... Oh, okay, good. You did it just right. Put it right there now, center stage. I just gotta hook this up now. Yeah, so that was that Václav Havel play. You know Václav Havel?
no,
Oh, we gotta get you in on that. Okay, hold this. Oh, you need to plug in that phone?
Oh, yeah, do you...
Sure, hang on, man. I'm just gonna need one of those 75-footers because...
Disappearing into the wings for a second, still talking, reappears with a very long extension cord.
Damn things back here don't work. I'm gonna write a grant. Gotta talk to the dean about that. I wrote a proposal.
Goes back into the house to plug the extension cord into the wall there.
Oh, this step is loose. I gotta fix that. Maybe I can use those steps from La Traviata that they're getting rid of over at Opera. Oh, you gotta see it. They're getting rid of all this stuff at Opera. Gonna take the truck over there, set pieces. There's this cannon. There are these giant sheep. Huge sheep, really stylized. Like they did it all in this cubist look. Like Picasso sheep. Huge, like 10-foot tall, high sheep. I think it would look really good and As You Like It. Or we could project on them. Projection on sheep. So cool.
Please, I just want to call my mom. I'm sorry, I just want to call my mom and I just need to charge the phone.
The man is back on stage now, pauses a second, and takes this in.
Okay, got it. Yeah, let me get that for you. Better take a sec. This is a nice phone you got here. I just traded John Wiley for some old phones they used in that other thing. We used them for all that Voight-Sec at Rec Center up in Ferguson. We had to have phones that worked because that whole thing was just lit by cell phones. Hey, you want to see something cool? Come here.
Takes pages out of his back pocket, moves to soundboard.
So here's a little skit we're scheming on. We'll just read it through, you and me, and do a little rehearsal. And I have the cues all loaded up in here so you can just press the buttons, okay? You ready? I'll read the script and you press the buttons where I marked it. Wait, Let me do a preset first. This is the wrong preset. This is for the dance piece thing at Webster with the pots and pans and stuff. Okay, here we go.
The lights go down again. Music.
You like that music? It's good, right? So we have a sense of expectation of like, what's gonna happen. Mysterious. That's my brother Matt playing, actually. But now, if you don't like that music, we can do something else. I just have this as a placeholder. But it's cool, it's cool. It's your vision, man.
What?
Your vision, man. Okay, I'll read these stage directions, and look, I marked it here where you press the button. See? A, B, C, D. You just press these buttons, so they're all marked. Okay, here we go.
Reading.
Blank stage, dim light. Okay, now, see it says A, so now you press A.
Young person presses a button. Lights shift to a mysterious glow.
You got it, you got it. A young person just out of high school steps tentatively on stage. They have a tiny suitcase.
An attractive actor in a polished costume, maybe of the 1940s, appears on stage with a suitcase.
Hello?
Okay, so now you see where it says B?
Young person presses a button. An echoing reverb says, "Hello? Hello? Hello?"
Whoa.
Maybe that's too much. I just thought it might be cool, but it's up to you. You know, you don't like it? It's okay. We don't have to do it. I saw they did a thing like this a long time ago at Talking Heads concert. So cool. They had this reverb. But, you know, we don't have to do it. Maybe it's better for the score if we just...
No, it's good.
Yeah, you like it? Cool, cool. Okay, let's go back. Blank stage. Dim.
Shit.
Now I press A.
You got it, you got it.
Young person presses A. Lights shift to a mysterious glow.
A young person just out of high school steps tentatively on the stage. He has a tiny suitcase.
Hello?
B.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Oh, that's so cool. Sorry. Hello?
Let's do it on the second hello, too.
Presses button. Hello? Hello? Hello?
The young person opens up the suitcase and takes out a paper, consulting it, looking around, trying to get a feel.
Actor does so. A little bad actory.
Is this it? Hello?
Let's do it again. Oh, no, wait, too much. Let's just do the reverb on the third hello.
Yeah, man, I think you're right. Let's try that now.
Scribbles on the script.
So now I'm getting rid of these first two A's after the first two hellos.
And just putting one after the last hello.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, let's reset now. Back to one.
Ready?
Hang on, I'm just putting a little something extra on this. See what you think. Empty stage, dim light.
Young person presses the button. Dim lights come up again, but they are richer, more colorful, and there's a moody gobo.
Hello? Hello? Oh, it's freezing in here.
He takes a paper from the suitcase and looks around, trying to get a feel.
Is this it? Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
I love it.
I liked it better the other way.
Okay, let's go on. The young person takes out his cell phone and makes a call. Oh, wait. Let's give him your cell phone.
Unplugs cell phone from extension cord and is about to hand it to the actor.
Oh, you wanted to call your mom, right?
Oh.
It's charged now.
I'll do it later.
Okay.
Gives the phone to the actor.
Mom? I don't think I'm in the right place. It's really dark here. Mom? Fuck.
A woman, 40s, crosses the stage.
A female actress in a sharp 1940s costume crosses the stage.
Oh, hi. Hey.
Yes?
I'm here.
You are. You're here.
I got here.
Well, good for you. Great to have you.
Wait, I don't like this.
Say hold, please.
Hold, please.
The actor stops.
You don't like it? That's cool, that's cool. You don't like the gobo?
Goes back to board.
I got other ones too. Got a bunch of them. Got a prison one that's from Mackinac. Got trees from All My Sons. My wife Kim made that. That's cut by hand, all those leaves. Got a big window. That's always good. But that's from Arcadia. Oh, wait. I got LED lights. Hang on, I'll get them. They're from Almost Maine, and they look like stars.
No, it's the way they're doing it.
Oh, the acting? Oh man, I can't do anything about that act.
It's not.
What's the problem?
It's just tech.
Look, it's more. It's worse than this. And it's better than this. You're alone. You're all alone.
I know. I get it, okay? It's his first day of college and he's scared.
No. Look, when you walk into this place, you're alone.
The man, back at the boards, works on the lights and they change as the young person delivers the following monologue. Maybe there's a shift in music, too.
It's not like everything was okay in high school and now you're just homesick. It's like you never did anything right, ever. Okay? You never had one cool moment at all. Not even in your own head. When you've been waiting for things to change and get better like they say it does, but because you're like trapped in this like bag of yourself and nothing is interesting or pretty and you can't make anything cool happen and you can't figure out how people operate or what the hell they really mean when they say stuff or what they think about when they look at you, but you can tell it's definitely not anything good and you're just watching the world, hoping it doesn't unload on you too hard. And the woman comes in, the busy professor lady, and she's just like on her way with her own thing and the other kid comes on and he just thinks you're shit. But then the guy with the ladder comes on, and he's just really, really, really interested in all of this crazy stuff he can do with these tools and all these stories, and he just keeps showing you all this stuff one by one and putting all this stuff in your hands and saying, try this and try that, and look what happens when you do this and that, and it's distracting. Like, in a good way. Like, not like Instagram distracting. Better. And you can, like, stop thinking about how miserable you are for 5 fucking seconds. And just make something. And you are just so grateful for that. And you really love him for it. But you don't even realize that.
Young person turns around. The man is gone.
And then he's gone.
Young person goes over to the board and pushes buttons. Music. Lights change.
Okay, I got it.
Let's go back to the top.
We're going back to the top?
Yeah, I totally got it now.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
Actor exits. Blackout. Music. Lights up. Gobo. Actor enters.
Hello?
End of play.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to welcome Audrey Wilson, Mark's niece, accompanied by Mr. Charles Kraft, who is the musical director for Black Rep, and Audrey would like to sing something for you.
Halfway through the woods. good. Just remember, someone is on your side, someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will turn out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
At first, Matt was the little brother, right? That's all I ever heard. The little brother's doing this thing, the little brother's doing this thing. Eventually, he became Matt. And as anyone who knows this situation knows, when Matt came to town, right, to play at Jazz in the Bistro, or wherever Matt was playing, Mark was excited, right? It was like, Matt's coming to town, right? And he would make sure that everyone he knew that Matt was coming to town, and tried to make sure that we filled Jazz in the Bistro and that selling tickets and doing whatever it took. Mark was always there just making that thing happen. He was clearly very proud of everything Matt did. And Matt was telling me a story the other night, one of my favorite stories. Matt has a lot of stories. They had a book around the house. The book was The Two Little Savages. Anybody? If you want to read it later, you The Two Little Savages, and what is the description of the book is, the story concerns two farm boys who build a teepee in the woods and persuade the grown-ups to let them live in it for a month. I love that. Okay? Matt Wilson. Be wherever you want to be.
Mark Paul Wilson. Wow. I was 5 years younger than Mark, and my oldest brother is much older. And he was like a leader and a teacher all of the time, but an encouraging one, even if you dummy, you know, why did you do that? And I think maybe I should have been a little closer in age for some of the activities that we did. Sometimes people thought I was older. And we went to a strip bar in Minneapolis one time. Sorry, kids. Just human. And he got carded and I didn't. But we schemed, you know, and we always did. I mean, you know, and he could do everything so well. I mean, it was hard, you know. For example, he was an Eagle Scout. I got the Star Scout, I think. Knots, you know. Okay, raise your hand. Bowline. Good. Sheepshank. clothes hitch, one-handed clothes hitch. You know, he could do them all. We talked about the rock tumbler. You know, archery. He was really into that. We did all that. Model rockets. That was kind of my thing, and we got into that together. But he didn't ever do it. You know, some people, like I encounter students sometimes, they kind of scratch the surface of everything, you know, and they don't really kind of dig in and really get into something. But he seemed to be able to do that with something so quickly, you know. Maybe not the tenor saxophone, but other than that. And he introduced me to so much, you know, and our parents, we've already talked about that, but that wouldn't be, I think this wouldn't be possible without that, obviously, and my aunts. For example, my aunts are great cooks, and so really got us inspired to cook. We've been interested in food ever since. And so we made a spaghetti dinner for Mom and Dad one night. And we made garlic toast in the toaster. So Dad, for about a month and a half or two, eating Wheaties or Malt-O-Meal, whatever he had for breakfast that particular morning, the meal was always accompanied by garlic toast. But this universal thinking too was great, you know, and I think that came from them a lot of the ways, because, you know, I still will be where we are or what we do, and I'll just go, it's a ways from Knoxville. But it's all possible, you know. The answer is yes. Mark and I used to tease, and I talk about this when I teach, is if it's legal, the answer is yes. I have one quick story, but before I do it, I'd be remiss not to introduce these great musicians that played prior to the performance, all of which also knew Mark because of the community. You know, when I spell community, I always capital U, because that's what unifies us. And so Bob DeBoo on the bass is great, solid. And young saxophone player who I met when he was very young, Mark met him too, I think he was probably 14, Ben Hogue on the saxophone. And the young man who's playing the drums is going to attend the Manhattan School of Music next year and take all the gigs. We met him when he was 12, my brother and I. I was working on a residency for jazz singer, which we're very proud of. He was a great Christian McKee. So when I was young, I had a hard time pronouncing R's. So Mark's name, from my perspective, I call him Bot. I was probably younger than that picture right there. Of course, everybody else thought it was amusing, you know. Wow, Bot. Well, one day I think he had enough. So it was one of my great early opportunities of learning that he was also an amateur speech pathologist. Right when that picture was taken, which is the 208 West Main in Knoxville, there was like this little concrete zone where maybe it was a cistern or an old well or something that they'd filled in. Just to the right or left of there. I remember him grabbing my arm, and he sat me down and he said, "We are going to learn how to say my name." And he said, "Look at me." He said, "It's Mark." And I said, "Bot." He said, "It's Mark." And so from that point on, it was Mark. And, you know, we, again, getting on the phone, when cool things were happening, he was one of the first people I called. "Oh man, this is great." You know, we're kind of very similar, and we say yes to a lot of things, and we do a lot of things, which is what we should be doing. And one day I got this book called Ignore Everybody and 29 Other Steps to Creativity. And I was on the Long Island Railroad going into the city. I live on Long Island. And there's a chapter called, it starts with a preface that says, "A great artist knows when to say no." So I took out my cell phone and I took a picture of it, because I just felt like sometimes he was maybe overdoing it, you know, saying yes. And I sent it to him. I didn't hear anything from him, but maybe he read it. But now John and I talk about something that maybe that's not so great. Maybe saying yes is what we should do. And these moments. If you read the little thing I'd written for the Facebook about human moments, and he said, all we're doing this for is human moments. Theater, it's just big skits. It's not that big a deal. But if we can touch people's lives in some sort of way, then we've done something. Take people away from what they're thinking about, politics, whatever, and unify people in one room for a few hours, or an hour, or a few minutes, we've accomplished something. Not like you did. So it's hard to say goodbye to him because we had much more to work on. I have a new record coming out of Sandberg Poetry. Usually I've written Carl Sandberg Poetry, and we talk about these projections and all the stuff we're going to do, but we'll get it done. He's guiding for us. But I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who made this event possible, and to the great community of St. Louis, and to our beautiful family, and who made this really something else. And to Mark, say yes, help people. So I'm gonna play a little piece with the assistance of Ben and Bob, based on a poem by Carl Sandburg. We hope you enjoy it. It's called Bubbles.
30 seconds. Max DeVolder. Max couldn't be here this morning. He had some things to say, though. You want this? Max had a few things to say. So Mark was, finishing up his finishing grad school, needed a residency. The ATD, the rep needed an ATD. Mark was a great fit. It was a crazy schedule back in those days, and Max wanted me to share two quick stories with you. The first was, there'd been all this connection between UMKC and Madison and Yale and all that, so it was a natural fit for Mark here, with Max having the connection to Madison as well. They did a production of The Matchmaker in the second season here, or second show of the season, 89-90 this is, and it was a 3-sided set that needed to revolve, but they did not have enough time to load in the turntable for it. They were coming out of M Butterfly, help me out, anybody? M Butterfly into Matchmaker with the turntable. So, as they often did, Mark and Max got in the truck and went up to Shapiro, which is a, kind of a, what is it, the big lots of steel and other things, I guess. And they just wanted to go cook up a scheme, right? So they went in and they walked and looked and thought, and they found this golf cart. And they thought, hey, wait a minute, that's an idea. So they ended up going back to the designer saying, hey, we found this golf cart. They stripped it all down. They shoved the golf cart inside the set and then just had somebody drive the set around. Instead of having the turntable. The second one is Joey here. Joey, you out there? They did Dracula together, a bunch of them. They all cooked up a great Dracula. So, and they knew they needed fog, blood, and bats. So they built 2 new fog machines. Peggy and the team built 2 new fog machines. Max reminds me that when they first tried it, the fog filled not only the stage, but the first 3 rows with 2 feet of fog. They were very proud of that. They had to solve the bats. That's a tricky one. And they wanted real bats flying around. So Mark had seen some anybody seen the show, right? Mark had seen some wind-up toy birds at the art museum. And so he modified the wings to make them more like bats, painted them black, attached them to fly fishing reels. So if you're a fly fisherman, these theater people get to go fly fishing, but so they would, and you push a button and it like retracts that line, so they would stretch them across the theater at various places and then hide the little reels in a set, hook on these stupid birds. And the birds, as soon as they were released, they would start to flutter, and the line would retract it, and these bats were flying all over the place. So they were super proud of that. It's a total Mark thing, right? And the other was the blood. So the Dracula's death was downstage in a cart, very dramatic. And the body in the cart next to the PVC tube that had a baggie filled with blood to receive the sharpened stake to do him in, as Max says. And the first time they tried it, blood flew everywhere. So pretty quickly, as you all know, Mark became the go-to special effects, lighting, and scenery person for groups throughout the city. If you couldn't solve it, Mark could solve it for him. As Max says, valuable theater artist and will be greatly missed. Thanks, Max, for doing that. Script. I'd like to introduce Tom Martin, Mark's friend and colleague here at SLU and beyond. And Tom has a few things to say.
I called that Dracula, by the way, and you knew where the bats were going to start, where they're going to end. Now, where they were in the middle was different every night. One time, one of the bats got caught on a line and fell down on the stage, was flopping around on the stage. And then it slowly stopped. It stopped flopping. And the actor went over and tried to pick it up, and as soon as he picked it up, as we all know, my friend was professional grade curious. He was industrial strength curious. Curious about ways to tell stories, curious about meeting new people, curious about animals. He was a beekeeper. Curious about music. He played Ornette Coleman on a baritone sax. Combine that curiosity with the tenacity and the designer's eye, and he became the go-to person for the Shakespeare Festival when we ran into scenic elements we didn't know how to solve. Explosions that didn't require pyro for Henry V, water cannons for the sea battle in Antony and Cleopatra, wireless dimmers for the lamps of the opening of Act II of Midsummer Night's Dream, parade puppets for Shakespeare in the Streets. Each project afforded him the opportunity to learn a new skill and make new friends. Many of my favorite collaborations were spent with Mark. We would sometimes read through a script aloud and toss out ideas, bouncing ideas off of each other. Each idea would present a whole new landscape of potential. Each idea would spiral out, pointing towards other ideas. Mark was built of excitable bones. And when he has best ideas, he can change the weather. In this business, there's a gap that most of us in theater confront with each new project. It's the distance between what we know we can do well, our personal bag of tricks, and what we want to achieve with that project. Sometimes there's no gap at all, sometimes it's a magical distance. Mark lived inside that gap. He set up a tent there. And he would take wild leaps of faith over that gap, landing safely on the other side with a whole new set of skills and a redefined sense of beauty. He was an artistic daredevil from the land of yes. Each project afforded him the opportunity to make new friends and to spread his love of theater. He was a Johnny Appleseed, exposing craftsmen and artisans and from other disciplines to our art form that combines all the other art forms. And he turned them into theater fans. He created beauty and found new and fantastic shapes for the beautiful. But since our art lives in time and space, his real legacy will not be his designs, but his process, his courageous, relentlessly curious, generous, excitable process, and now lives in the hearts and minds and work habits of his students, and in how much there is to share in time and space. We have a video of his thoughts and his words on teaching. Should we push on? Should we push on? Dan Gieterman just entered the booth.
Hey Noah, do you want to just go ahead with the SLU students? That's good, let's do that.
We're going to have several SLU students come on up. Come, Katie, Ben, Martin.
I'm a marketing designer, technology designer, and with theater, I thought, oh, this is it. You know, I was looking at all the experiences. Theater is the first human invention. That ability for us to see ourselves, right? Students come up to me all the time saying, listen, I've had an anthropology class and I can tell you theater is not the first human invention, but my theory is that if we couldn't see ourselves, we couldn't invent fire and language. We have to do this. We have to keep seeing and reinventing ourselves, and theater allows us to do that. We start out with a story and then we support it. Good designs support a story, right? That's our purpose. And I come up with really cool stuff all the time. You know, we can have special effects and things, but if they're not related to a storyline, it all of a sudden doesn't work out. Accused of being so optimistic. Mark, come on. You know, in those production videos, those faculty meetings, you go, Mark, get your head on the clouds here, man. We're at St. Louis University. You know, we don't have the money for this. We can't do this stuff. Get your head in the clouds. We're going to invert it. We're positive here, right? So we have the clouds here now, okay? And I've got some music here now too. This is as close as I get to yoga. This is my brother's thing called sway. So I hope you can get a sense of what it was like for me to be involved in this experience, the innovative fellowship of going from my ideas, the planning with my great designers, and then my life coach who's in here with me every day, which I'm going to miss the most, all the way down to then the symposium. So I welcome it, and I look forward to seeing other presentations and how we kind of cross over too, and the colleagues in this space too. So welcome, and thank you very much for coming.
On the death of a friend, we should consider that the fates, through confidence, have devolved on us the task of a double living, that we have henceforth to fulfill the promise of our friend's life also in our own to the world. Henry David Thoreau. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Ben Lewis. I first met Mark here at SLU when I entered the theater program in 2012, and I worked closely with him throughout and beyond my time here. Mark was a man of innumerable qualities and talents that I strive to emulate every day. A man who, regardless of the time of day or the grotesquely high number of projects on his plate, always made time for anyone who came his way. A man who went out of his way to make sure we, his students, found success in any endeavor we might pursue, be they theatrical or not. A man who, faced with an impossible challenge, would not balk, but enthusiastically responded, "Yeah, man." A man who, despite how impossible that challenge was, would bring it to life before our eyes. A man who could make magic happen. I owe more than could be said to Mark. There was a time that I doubted my place in the theater community, and I withdrew from it for a year. When I came crawling back, as I'd been told I would, Mark not only welcomed me with open arms, he welcomed me with a challenge, a task I'd never taken on before, a job I had never even considered taking on. He knew that that was the very thing I needed in my life. That was Mark. That job, sound design, became my favorite thing to do, thanks to him. Whether I was designing, managing, or directing, Mark was only a call away to help prop me up when I was falling. When I just needed someone to vent to, his door was always open. When I needed someone to bring me out of a funk, I could call Mark and have a winding, tangential conversation about the projects he was working on. I now get to work in my field, constantly, beyond what I could have dreamed of just a half decade ago, in a way that supports my needs because of Mark. The lessons he taught me, the skills he passed on, the context that he shared with me, have gotten me to where I am today. And they will continue to carry me through life, while Mark watches and supports me from the wings. I imagine that what I've said today has resonated with many in this room, because that is who Mark was, not just to me, but to anyone that I saw him. He saw all of us for who we were, who we wanted to be, who we needed to be, and what it would take to get us there. And get us there. Mark has left a legacy that will resonate throughout the theater community for years and years to come, leaving it for the better. A legacy that we perpetuate every time we make magic happen. A legacy that we can be proud to uphold every time we face a challenge with a hearty, yeah man. Strive to be the creator, the designer, the artist, the person that Mark knew you could be. Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Katie Van Roman. Some of you know me, some don't. Some have only heard about me from Mark. None of it's true. Some of it might be. In mind of keeping this from a celebration, I want to tell you about a party we had in college. Our parties were legendary. Mark always invited. Never really came. There was something about underage drinking and whatnot, but like it was cool. He knew he could come. So we were having this party, and Mark heard about it, knew about it. We came to stop by because I always chatted with Mark about my day, and he was like, "Man, I got some dry ice. You want to take it for your party?" And yes! So we take this dry ice. It is much too much dry ice for a party, guys. Like, our floors were damp the next day. So we're having this party, everyone's having a great time, and then Mark calls and he goes, "Hey, brought you guys some pizzas." Mark! What? Seriously? Yeah, they're just gonna get delivered. Mark, thank you. You know drunk people need pizza. I mean, that's the kind of crazy-ass person Mark was. Like, who does that for people? He was insane. And I think that's why we got along so well, because I am also very much insane. I think Mark was one of the people I spent most of my time with in my 4 years here. Kind of weird, I know. The only other person is my best friend Sarah, and I lived with her. So, but Mark and I kind of lived here. There were so many times where we'd be working on a show way late into the night and go, "Kim's gonna be so mad at me." And I was like, "Why, Mark?" He's like, "I'm not gonna make it home." He'd sleep in the green room, and like he'd wake up the next day and we'd do it all again. Mark was an incredible person. Like, he was so integral to my 4 years of school. Like, I can't even imagine my time without him. Like, he was not only a professor, he was a friend. Mark and I would go for drinks, and like, Mark was a terrible gossip. Like, he would be like, "I don't want to know, I don't want to know," but he wanted to hear about it. So, and we don't think we didn't talk about so many of you sitting in this theater after. Mark and I always had so much fun, even if we were having a terrible time. Like, there were shows where you were like angry that you were doing all this shit, but you would still keep doing it for some reason. And I think the worst part about Mark being gone is like I can still picture him here. Like, it's like we're all here, but I can just imagine him in that back room, like on his computer drafting something, and you walk in, he's like, "Man, I got something to show you." And you're there. You're like so excited, and then you're there for like 3 hours, even though you had 5 minutes. But you're there. And that's the worst part, is that like he's still here, but it's also the best part. Because I never want to imagine my life without Mark. Like, he still impacts me. Mark pushed me to be better than I am. Like, I am a lazy procrastinator, and Mark knew that. Like, he was like, you could be better than that. You can be so much more than who you are. And he knew he wanted the best out of every single student he had. He fought for us. So many jobs I did, so many projects I had, would not have existed without Mark. He would love me to clarify, I did the lights for As You Like It. You did not, for those of you that don't. So, but that's just it. You guys have that picture up here. It's coming up soon. I did that. Mark taught me how to do that. Isn't that amazing? You guys think he did it. That's how good he made me. There it is. I can't say any more about Mark other than I'm so glad everyone of you got to meet him. Like, I'm glad I got to meet him because I would be a whole different person. Mark made me braver, smarter, better. And I cried when I walked into this room because I have so many memories of him, but what would I do without those memories? My days here would have been lame. Like, he was the one that got me, because we don't have a lot of technical professors. But he was there for every tech student that had a question, every tech student that had a dream. He was able to make it happen. And I love him for that.
Hello everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Martin Moran. And it's with great sadness that I stand before you, but we're here to celebrate Mark. So I have two short stories that I wanted to share. The first is the story of me first meeting Mark. It was 2011, and I was visiting SLU as a prospective student. I had some time, just downtime, so I wanted to come take a peek at the theater and see what it looked like. Little did I know, they were in the middle of a tech for a show, and they had just gone on break when I walked in the door. Mark was the first to notice me, and he immediately introduced himself. And once he realized I was interested in technical theater, he had this big grin on his face. Like there was some secret that I didn't know. The next thing I knew, he was giving me this huge description of the scenery and how it was going to spin, and do all this sorts of different stuff. And he was just so enthusiastic about it. He actually invited me to stay and sit with him for the rest of the tech and watch what he did, and he taught me everything. And I knew it was slowing him down, but he took time to explain everything and how it all worked. I never told him this, but that day when I left the theater, I called my family and told them that I wanted to go to SLU. I knew in that moment that anyone that was so willing to go so far out of their way for someone who wasn't even their student would make an excellent teacher and mentor. Excuse me. And he demonstrated this type of passion in everything that he did for the 6 years that I knew him. And my friendship with Mark continued far beyond my time at SLU. We talked regularly, and as you probably all know, Mark could talk. Whenever I got a phone call, I was like, do I have time to take it? No. And so, a few weeks ago, Mark called me to talk on the phone, and I knew I didn't have the time, but there was something I needed to tell Mark, so I knew that I had to take the call. I had just recently accepted a new job in Chicago, and I was so worried that I was going to let Mark down telling him this, because I was leaving the theater profession. When I broke the news to Mark, he didn't skip a beat. He was so excited for me, so enthusiastic, real happy that I got this job, and he immediately, or even went as far as to ask, well, what's the high school you're leaving going to do without you? And he volunteered, all these names of people, some of you that are probably in the room, to help out. And that's just the kind of person he was. The phone call that was supposed to be quick lasted for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we talked about everything from work to his farm, my new job, and anything else you could possibly imagine. I always loved talking to him on the phone. And I'm glad that I took the time that day to take that phone call. He was a generous person who cared so much about all of his students, and his door was always open, and anyone was welcome. Right now, I think the best thing we can all do, or at least I can do, is find a way to continue to share his passion, his sense of creativity, and the spirit of giving with others. It's my hope that Mark knew how thankful we all were to have known him and how much he meant to each of us, because it was always so apparent how much we all meant to him. Thank you.
it's a weird thing to say, Mark's last show, right? But I don't know if that's really a real thing, because Mark's stuff is in every show around town. But Mark's final show that he just finished lighting was Crossing Over at the Black Rep. And it's a special place in my heart too. I'd done it before. And so I'm going to introduce Ron Hines, the founding and producing director of the Black Rep, and he's going to introduce the cast from Crossing Over.
You know, we all talk about Mark, the artist, and what a great guy he was, and how creative he was, and how much he influenced everybody. It's really tough for me. There's people talk about a very tight St. Louis theater community. But there are lots of times when at the Black Rep we could reach out and we could call people and we wouldn't necessarily feel that unity, that big unity. But we always did when we called Mark. Mark would show up, Mark would bring people. Katie, Martin, Noah. He thought it was important for them to get off this campus and not to just work at all the other theaters in town, but that it was important for them to work at the Black Rep. That it was important for them to know what happened there, what went on there. A number of people mentioned Mark's legacy. A show we worked on last season was called Sunset Baby. We had a troubled teenager who was just always in trouble. He had dropped out of high school. And somebody called me and said, you know, they thought he might have some interest in theater. So I said, come on, I'll put him on the show. The show had projections. That's why we called Mark, of course. We couldn't afford to do what we wanted to do. You know, we said, we want some projections. Mark said, oh, we can do projections. We can do video. You know, we got. And so, you know, we had rear screen projectors, we had 3 cameras, we had video, and we had a kid who knew nothing about any of it. And I said, well, Mark, we're not invited to do it, we're not invited to program. And Mark said, I'll teach you, I'll teach you. By the time that show opened, that kid was troubleshooting the projections and the video. One night we got to the theater, he turned all the projectors on, nothing came up. We tried to call Mark, we couldn't reach Mark. He said, I think I remember what he told me. He went in the back, he started doing some stuff. We're all in the front, we can't open the house because we're waiting. And then all of a sudden the projector comes up. The video started running. He remembered what Mark had taught him. And he turned the kid around. The show that is currently running, Crossing Over, we're going to again talk about Mark's legacy. There's a 12-year-old girl from East St. Louis who's never been out of East St. Louis, never traveled outside East St. Louis. During tech, we went on dinner break and the stage manager took her to Panera. That was the first time she'd ever had Panera. She's 12 years old, and she's the light board operator. She runs the dimmer check. Mark was the lighting designer for Crossing Over. But then I think he was doing sound too. He was rigging drops. He was helping on the scenery. I remember I came in the first day and I said, this set's too far out stage. I don't have any room. Mark said, no problem. I'll open up the traveler. We can push the whole thing upstage. I came in the next day. They had pushed the set upstage. He had adjusted the traveler. He had added footlights. We had a Wednesday preview, things that went fairly well. Thursday we're in, I'm doing notes before the preview, and there's Mark on stage with that ladder. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? You know, he's got both pipes down, he's working on something on the drops, he's adjusting some lights, and then all of a sudden I'm so happy that I did this. I said, and the cast and I were sitting over here doing notes, and I said to them, ladies and gentlemen, you remember that guy out there? That's Mark Wilson. Let's all give him a big round of applause. And the whole cast and all the crew that was in the theater stopped and did just what you just did. And I was so happy that we had that opportunity to do that. Opening night, Mark sat a couple of rows in front of me as we watched the show with his pad. I think it's opening night, Mark, I'm done. A couple more things. So after the show was over, the curtain came down. I came down and I went to Mark. I said, Mark, I do have one note. That one light cue. He said, yeah, man, I know. He got up and went right to the booth, fixed it, and the next night, when I came into the theater, that cue that he had fixed was the sunrise. It was the sunrise on the Africans after they had embarked the slave ship. And they were walking into a new day. These are two of Mark's favorite numbers from the show. When we talk about storytelling, this is a show that has no dialogue, it's all music. And my attempt was to tell the story of the African American experience from a day in an African village, through the Middle Passage, through the auction block, the cotton fields, the Northern Migration, the Civil Rights Movement, into contemporary gospel in the Black church today. And Mark's lighting illuminated that story. It made the story crystal clear. And, oh, did I also mention he had notes for the band. And so, to Matt, Kim, and all the family, I want to thank you so very, very much for sharing Mark with us. Thank you.
All right, y'all can clap your hands in here. Come on. Hey, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. So I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Yeah, yeah. Broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Everything that could go wrong time. So much pressure fell on me. I thought I was gonna lose my mind. Lord, I know you wanna see if I will hold on to these trials. But I need you to lift this love, 'cause I can't take it no more. Shackles off my feet so I can dance. So I can dance. I just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Broke the chains, now I can lift my head. I can lift my head. I just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Hey, been through the fire and the rain, bound in every kind of way. God has broken every chain to let me go right now. Shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. Broke the chains, now I can lift my head. I can lift my head. I just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Yes, I'm free. Yeah. He's got the whole world in his hand. 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 He's got you and me in his hand. He's got you and me in his hand. He's got you and me in his hand. He's got the whole world in his
In his hand, he's got the little bitty baby. In his hand, he's got the little bitty baby. In his hand, he's got the whole world in his hand. Oh, he's got the whole world in his hand. 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 Oh, he got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Hey, he got you and me, brother. In his hands. He got you and me, brother. My brother. In his hands. He got you. In his hands. He got the whole world in his hands. Hey, he got you and me. In his hands.
somebody asked me if the black rep folks were going to need microphones. I was like, no, they got this. Now you have another show to see. Couple more things. Kim did a collection of store letters that Mark wrote to her. The rep was taking on a giant project starting in 1985 called The Journey to the Center of the Earth. Anybody heard this story? And so Kim put together a little batch of stories from that. So I'll just do them quickly. Well, these are letters from Mark to Kim, somewhere in 1985. It's calm at work, no horses. Just business-like TD work. I'm trying to kick-ass drafting, but it's slow since I'm learning the way the shop boys like to build. So he's just starting to work at the rep. But I've thrown in a few methods from my many years of being a wood hack. I think it would be a social group too, at my first impression. If my pencil scratching is somewhat conceivable and accurate, I'll be doing fine. I've never been so positive about a theater experience since the Guthrie. Months later, I was going a bit nuts, so I did some therapy drawing. I'm redrafting all of the master plates of the Robert Hilton Center in ink. It's fun and it's going fast, but I get the shakes, especially when people watch over my shoulders. So to overcome the shakes, I get the finished interior design book and draw neat stuff. I can't wait until Ming delivers a ton of complicated stuff. I'm ready. My woman, the redheaded love of my life, is gone, so I need to keep busy with something. Ming will come through. I can smell it, taste it. The 151st working drawing by November 10th. My pencils will be worn out, and I'll begin to talk like Gigi the drafting machine. January 1986. Idea for a play without a play. You see, there's this producer who had this sacred cow of a play, a wild hunch called Journey to the Center of the Earth. It was like a school design project for Ming Cho Lee. Ming got an incomplete and needed another extension. But the project was due. The producer needed a playwright, another 6 years, and Joseph Swoboda to grade Ming. A B, a C, and ultimately a D. Finally, the sacred cow was being hung around Ming's neck to be tightened every day. To remove this heavy heifer, Ming had to either do the show or call it a good development project. Trivial Pursuits, category Arts and Entertainment. Question. If a show is designed $95,000 over budget and 2 months behind with a shaky script, what will happen? A, the theater writes a bad check, hires the local union number 6 to do some summer stock for $15 an hour. That was in 86, I guess. And the mediocre show will happen and everybody says, boy, we should have done Oklahoma. B, Ming donates the money for the show to be produced, drops all of his projects, and moves to St. Louis to live in a studio apartment at 1338 Hawthorne, apartment number 2A, with his devoted friend Mark Wilson. The mediocre show happens, and Ming says, well, David should have done Oklahoma. C, David gives Ming another extension, threatens that you'll never work anywhere in St. Louis again, and replaces Journey with a similar American classic, Oklahoma, to be designed by Oliver Smith. Or D, he gives Ming an incomplete with pay and decides maybe, not official yet, to do Streetcar Named Desire. Answer D, but don't tell anyone. It's a top secret entertainment decision and I'd have to kill you. Speaking of killing, I watched violent TV tonight, so I've nailed the door shut and I'm going to hide under the sheets. So we'd like to show you now just a couple little bits of Mark's work. Ready, Mel? Terry Dempsey, the founder and director of the Museum of Contemporary Art, Contemporary Religious Art, and Mark's friend.
Mark was an amazing colleague, as we've all known. He helped us out on a number of occasions over at MOPA, right across the sidewalk from here. The most recent was our most challenging exhibition. It was all suspended from the ceiling. 20 works on panels, 7-foot panels of silk with these images, powerful images of women who were forced to watch the torture and murder of their loved ones in Colombia, South America. We called on Mark and he went right to it. It was a challenge, and he found a program where he recreated our space and hung all the works in the space, and he designed it so you could walk through the space. He sent it down to Erica Dietes, the artist from Bogota, Colombia, and they worked together across continents to develop this show. And when it was installed, it looked exactly like what he realized in that program. He was an amazing person, as we all know. What I'd like to do is share with you a prayer it's a prayer poem by Edward Hayes, which has been a source of great consolation for me at times like this. And I hope it's a great consolation to you also. Relatives and friends, I'm about to leave. My last breath does not say goodbye, for my love for you is truly timeless. I leave my thoughts, my laughter, my dreams to you whom I have treasured beyond gold and precious gems. I give you what no thief can steal, the memory of our times together, the tender, love-filled moments, the successes we have shared, the hard times that brought us closer together, and the roads we have traveled side by side. I also leave you with a solemn promise that after I am home in the bosom of God, I will still be present whenever and wherever you call on me. My energy will be drawn to you by the magnet of our love. Whenever you are in need, call me. I will come to you with my arms full of wisdom and light, to open your blocked passages, to untangle your knots, and to be your avenue to God. And all I take with me as I leave is your love and the millions of memories of all that we have shared. So I truly enter my new life as a millionaire. Fear not nor grieve at my departure, you whom I love so much, for my roots and yours are forever intertwined. Amen.
And finally, Kim Wilson. Kim and Mark had a bit of a tradition as parties ended at their house. She's going to share that with you now.
I don't know if you've known us for a while, we used to have epic parties. And sometimes at 2, 3, or 4 in the morning, we'd say, yeah, people should be going home. So I'm going to play this piece for you so you can sit and reflect on who Mark Wilson was and what he meant to you. So just a second.
Don't you wonder what's in that cooler up there? Some of you think beer.
Oh, wait a minute.
Some of you think dry ice.
This was our way to close the parties.
goal is to blare the most terrible music you can find.
And it was, people remembered it. They knew, oh, okay. So thank you all for coming, and we appreciate it all so much. We're going to miss him a lot.
Thank you.